ආයිබෝවන්. So in today's lesson, we are going to cover reading. Okay, now this is the first reading lesson in the advanced pillar. So as you know, reading for general students and academic students, there is a difference. Now it's not a difference in terms of the structure of the paper, but in terms of the content. If you are doing academic, the extracts are from journals, articles, they are more academic related topics. Whereas the general paper, the extracts are like from books, newspapers, more generalized topics, right? So that is the main difference. And actually people say that the general paper is easier. You feel that the paper is easier because we cover the topics around the general topics. So they are day-to-day use topics. So we find it much easier than the academic related topics, right? So we're going to have a look at the introduction to the IELTS reading test in terms of the entire paper. Now, I can remember I've done an introduction with you like a, introduction to IELTS, but specifically for each pillar, like when it was for writing, for listening, for speaking, right? I've given you an intro, so the same way I'm giving you an intro for the reading paper, okay? Now, this could be the type of the exam. You could have a paper-based one, or you could have a computer-based assessment, okay? You will get separate papers as I told you. General candidates will get a separate paper. Academic candidates will get a separate paper. You're never going to get the same paper. කවදාකවත් එකම paper එක හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ. වෙනස් papers එකක් තමයි හම්බෙන්නේ. So the time would be 60 minutes, okay? No extra time is given for you to transfer your answers onto an answer sheet. Now, if you are doing paper-based, you will have an answer sheet, a separate one, okay? Just like the listening one. Reading also, you have an answer sheet, like, it's just like this here, okay? So, here you have to fill in your details, and then it's a grid like this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, you've got it and you have to write your answer here. Is it true, false, not given, or is it 20? You have to write your answers. Now, you will not be given extra time to transfer your answers here. If you are doing computer based, right, you will have your reading passage on this side, right, and on this side, you will have the questions. So you will type up your answers here. Either way, no extra time is given. Okay? Now, you have to make sure within that 1 hour, right, you read the question, you understand the question, you find the answer, and you also write the answer in the relevant answer sheet or where they have provided space for you. It is recommended. Now, we don't tell you it is a must, but you have 3 passages. Okay? Or they say 3 sections. You have passage 1, passage 2, passage 3. So, under passage 1, you will have a few questions. Under passage 2, you will have a few questions. Under passage 3, you will have a few questions. So, suggestion is you spend 20 minutes per passage. Now, if not, you will not have a time duration. And then they say, teacher, we couldn't answer the last 10. Now, that cannot happen if you stick to this time frame. So, always make sure you're running with the clock. Check, check, check. Okay. Okay, 10 minutes gone. I have another 10 minutes more. I need to finish these questions, right? 8 minutes gone. I have 12 more minutes. Work with the time. Okay. Now, I haven't been time specific with you when I was doing the beginner or the intermediate level. right? Because there, what I was trying to do was develop your reading sub-skills, right? I helped you find the answer, right? I underlined where the answer was. I went back and, forth and did the question and the answer with you. Now, it's going to be more independent, okay? So, in these lessons, it's more or less quickly we're having a look at the questions. Why are these the answers? Where can you find the answer? Quick. That kind of recap. Because you should be working with the time now. From day one, when you are doing the Cambridge books, the practice questions, you must time yourself. If you don't time it and do it, there is no point of you practicing, right? Because we have done the sub-skills and I've trained you a lot to find the answer, sentence completion, gap fill, multiple choice, true, false, not given, right? So now it's to use that practice, those sub-skills actually to find the answers, okay? So the recommended time for you to spend for each passage is 20 minutes, okay? Now, your questions could be, some of them ask me, Miss, is the academic as well as the general students going to get 3 passages? Yes. Remember, there is no structure change in the paper, even if you are doing general or academic. The only difference is the content. Hari? Structure ke kisima venasak naha. General da karanne, academic da karanne, kisima venasak naha. Venasa tiyenne antargate, the content, right? So general leva api samanya edineda පාවිච්චියට ගන්න මාතෘකා වටා තියෙන එකක්. academic කියන්නේ more academic related යම් කිසි විෂය නිර්දේශ අදාළ කියන specific subject area එකක් ගැන කතා කරන topics. That is the only difference, right? Okay, so the score. Each question is worth 1 mark, okay? A band score conversion table is produced for each version of the academic test. So you will get out of 40, how much should you get to get a 7, right? The scores are also reported in half bands. Right, so I'll show you how the scores are calculated in a bit, right? Let's follow through. I'll show you in a bit. So the test compromises of 40 questions, right? And the test has a wide range of reading skills. Now I have done with you these reading skills, right? In terms of beginner and intermediate level. So we're looking at just overall idea, main idea, detail, right? Understanding the logical argument, understanding the writer's opinion, attitudes, purpose, skimming, quick read, scanning, looking out for particular or specific information, right? So they are looking for different sub-skills in each question. Now, in the academic, you have 3 long texts which range from descriptive and factual to more discursive and analytical style of reading passages. These are taken from books, journals, magazines and newspapers, right? They often contain more complicated language, academic vocabulary, and sometimes even diagrams and maps. General one, again, you have 3 sections, right? Again, taken from magazines, books, but not academic related ones, okay? Each one getting more difficult and each section might have 1 or 2 separate texts, okay? But you do have 3 sections, right? So each one has similar structure, right? Right, so here for you, let's have a look at if you're a general candidate, okay, let's have a look at this. The first section is relevant and it is everyday English life. But if it's the second section, it focuses on work issues, training courses at work, resources at work, application procedures, or about pay schemes usually. Part 3, topic of general interest. So if you're doing general, these are the 3 sections that could come up. Sometimes, very rarely, sometimes you might have 2 small texts in each section, okay, but could be sometimes, I'm not saying always. In the past, it has come up like that. Now, the question types, obviously you get a variety of questions, matching, multiple choice, identifying information that is true, false, not given, identifying the writer's opinion, right? Matching sentence endings, right? Summary completion, note completion, table completion, flowchart completion, labeling, okay, so you will have to label a map or a diagram, short answer questions, right? So you can see there's a variety of questions that could come up for your exam, right? So you must make sure that you have practiced a lot so that you can answer these different types of questions. So marking the test, everyone can't mark these tests, okay? It is marked by certified markers who are regularly monitored to ensure reliability, okay? So these markers are being assessed, right, every 2 years, and they need to get a certain score to go in for marking, right? All answer sheets after being marked are further analyzed by Cambridge English, right, and it's usually double marked, okay? Someone will just quickly verify it and then it is further analyzed by Cambridge English, okay? Now, having a look at your band scores, right? How are band scores awarded? Now, this is general, this is academic, right? Now, this is just a generalized one, right? For general reading test, which contains 40 questions, the approximate band scores are being calculated using this table, right? So, you should know how much you need to get out of 40 to get a band score 7, 7.5. නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නේ නැහනේ. 40න් කීයක් ගන්න ඕනද? 7ක් ගන්න. 6ක් ගන්න. 5.5ක් ගන්න. General කරනවා නම් මේ උඩ තියෙන එක, right, which is in blue color that I have put. And if you're doing academic, it is in pink color, this pink box that I have put up for you. So if you need a 7, then you should get 34 to 35, but you can see in academic, if you're getting a 7, it's 30 to 32. Can you see the difference? General 34 to 35, 30 to 32 if you're doing academic, right? So usually general tends to be a bit higher, okay? So this will help you හැමතිස්සෙම තමන් reading paper එකක් කරාම බලන්න මට 40න් කීයද? What is my score, right? So you should know this, and if you want a 7, 7.5, definitely it's 30 above, right? So for the academic reading test, which also contains 40 questions but is more difficult because academic related topics, the approximate band scores are being calculated below, right? Okay. Can you write on the reading question paper? Yes, but remember that is for you to find the answer, or you highlight something, jot down something. You can make notes, You can underline words or answers. You can write anything on the paper. But remember, your answers must be on the answer sheet, or you must have typed the answer on the screen in the relevant space being given to you. If not, the examiner will never mark the reading question paper. They only mark the reading answer sheet. හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න reading paper එක dispatch කරාට reading paper එක shred කරනවා. ඒකේ කොයිම වෙලාවකත් answer එක examiner කෙනෙක් බලන්නේ නැහැ. examiner බලන්නේ reading answer sheet එක විතරයි. computer එක නම් computer base නම් ඒ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අදාළ තැන answer එක type කරන්න ඕනේ. Clear? Right. So moving on, can you use capital letters? Yes, you can. You can use them or not as you wish. You can write all the answers in capitals too, to avoid problems with remembering to put capital letters at the beginning of proper nouns. Right? Now these are the ways that you can do it. Okay? So say for an example table, you can write table. Complete capital letters. Okay? Or else you can write table like this. Okay? This is correct. This is correct. I mean, this is not correct, but they would still give you a correct. It's okay, right? But it's not something we should be doing because it's not a proper noun, okay? But what they don't expect you as an answer is this. නිකං හැමතැනම simple capital කැමති විදිහට ලියන්න බෑ. It has to have a proper way. This is right, this is right, this is right. Okay? Now say that you're writing a name. Okay, Jason. Let's see. You can write Jason like this. You can write Jason like this. If you write Jason like this, the chances are yes, they'll give you correct, but we don't usually write it like that. Okay? So, this is correct. This is correct. What they don't accept is this. So, this is what I was trying to explain. Yes, okay. You can write it in caps lock. Right. So, if you write in these ways that I've given, the ones which are correct, you would get a mark for each of it, right? Should you use a pencil or a pen? Remember, use a pencil. Okay? Teacher mum pen ලියන්න එපා. ලියන්නත් බෑ. Use a pencil only, right? And don't forget to take an eraser. Usually, exam centers or other test centers, they provide you with the stationery, but තමන් අරගෙන යන්න. Like take 2 pencils, 2 good HB pencils, right? And a nice eraser, right? අර කළුවෙන් නැති එකක්. Not the one that when you erase it becomes black all over the paper. Don't take those. Take good eraser, right? And make sure the pencil, you've been using it for some time with a sharpener definitely. Okay, you can't be wasting time. So have 2-3 pencils. මොකද එකක තුල කැඩුනොත්, if your knee breaks, you can use the other pencils that you have. We don't have time to waste. Every minute is precious, right? Remember, we have 60 minutes, right, to answer 40 questions, which means I have only 1.5 minutes per question. That is pretty fast, okay? You need to read, understand, you're under exam stress, a lot of things for you to do, right? So moving on, is spelling important? So this is an English language testing system. So is spelling important? Definitely yes. If it is spelled incorrectly, no marks. Okay, so you have to make sure. Now example, let's take the answer is beautiful. Right, this is correct. But what if you write it like this? Ayo teacher අයියක විතරනේ නැත්තේ. Huh? Still, it's wrong because spelling is incorrect. So you have to make sure that you check your spellings, right? So when you're doing your practice sessions, if you feel your spelling is not that great, you get your spellings wrong, then pause, go through the dictionary, check the proper spelling, write the same word 5 times like you did when you were a little student. You know, when little kids we say, oh, you made a spelling error, can you write the word 5 times? Okay, that's the way we develop their skill. So when they write it 5 times, they remember, and then the following week we ask them again, can you remember the spelling? And they said, oh yes auntie, this is how you spell it. Okay, so that is very important. ඉතින් ඒ පොඩි කාලේ ටීචර්ස් කරන පුරුදු ගොඩක් වටිනවා. දැන් ඒක ඒ කාලේ අපි මිස් කරලා ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා නම් now is the time for you to pick up, right? And it's important that you learn, right? Spelling can be really sometimes sulky, but you have to do it. ඒක තමන් විසින්ම කරන්න ඕනේ, right? And when you start liking it, that's it, right? I remember I used to teach in a very rural area, and some of them never got spellings correct, okay? So I used to make it very interesting for them, okay? I used to jumble the letters and keep it on the table and say, can you put them in the proper order, okay? So they were very energetic. They really wanted to learn. So if you feel it's boring, I'm not saying you can do it, right? Because you might not have time to do it, but try it that way. You might think, අයෝ teacher කරන්න වෙලානේ, but එක හදාගෙන තියාගන්න සමහරක් වෙලාවට it's nice. You can ගෙදර කට්ටියට, especially when you don't have electricity or something, you can do that as a game. මෙන්න පවුලේ අය with your kids, right? Or with your spouse or with your neighbors, you can do it. ඒ අකුරෙන් අකුරු 5ක් 6ක් කපලා තියාගන්න. So you have A like this. Okay, this is out of the context, but I want to tell you this, right? And then you put B. So, you sit down in a circle, okay, this is how I do it with the little ones, okay, so I put on the letters and I say, okay, Maria, can you spell ball? B-A-L-L කියන්න ඕනේ හරි කම්මැලි එහෙම B. So what they do is I put all the letters and they take the B, they take the L, they take the L and the L, and you know, B-A-L-L, and they put it, oh, I've got it, bingo, right? So that's the way. You can do it. So your kids can tell you, okay, Mom, can you spell out, what can we say, sincerely? So, akuru ekakin paha kapala laminate kana pula, then dahay kapala laminate kana pula, right? So you take the S, the I, akuru hoela, you kind of put it. Okay? There's another nice game, right, called Scrabble. This is a board game, okay? You can play that game, right? Board එකක් අරගන්න පුළුවන්. You can usually buy it anywhere. I know most bookshops have it or toy shops have it, okay? It's not that expensive. There are professional Scrabble players. ඒ කියන්නේ නිකන් cricket, basketball, netball වගේ professional Scrabble players. It's a word game, okay? So you can put the letters, ඔය මං කියපු එකම තමයි, but it's more board and you get points for it, right? So if you don't want to spend, you could do it this way. Okay, I do this with my young learners, okay? ඊට අමතරව මම ඒගොල්ලන්ට පුංචි කාලේ මොකද්ද? It's a ball, they have to find the picture of the ball and match it. So I can understand, do they know the spelling? Do they know the meaning? Meaning check කරන්න ලේසිම විදිය. So you can try those, okay? And if you are a teacher and you're watching this, it would be something nice for you to try it with your young learners. Right, so that's a bit out of the reading paper, but I should tell you some strategies how to improve it, okay? So spelling is important. Do all the answers come in the same order? No. Remember, reading passage එකේ තියෙන පිළිවෙලටම නෙවෙයි questions එන්නේ. Only some question types. Some of them actually have it in the same order, right? But the others, they don't follow the reading passage order. But some, they do. Do you have to remember what you have read? Definitely you don't have to. What we practice, remember, underline keywords, skimming, scanning techniques, a bit of intensive reading, maybe for about 2 or 3 sentences. That's it. Okay? How can you improve your reading skills? Aha. Here are some of the tips for you, right? Improve skimming. Before tackling questions, you should read the passage to get the general idea of what the content or the topic or the layout is about. So you just quickly skim read. Skim read means you have a look at the heading, any pictures, subheadings, topic sentences. Okay? This means you cast your eyes over the passage for about 2 minutes, but your aim is not to understand word by word. Your aim is to understand what is this reading passage about. Very important, because if you do that, especially when you're trying to match headings or when you're trying to match topic sentences, if you read the first, the last sentence of a passage, you roughly be able to think, oh, this is about this. It's much easier. Find keywords. So you underline the keywords in your reading passage, okay? And then you go to the passage and you find the answers. While skimming, you should underline the keywords. You should learn to spot the keywords. It could be the same word or a different form of the verb, a synonym or the similar meaning through a few words. So paraphrasing. It's important for you to understand paraphrasing. Now I've taught you a bit of paraphrasing in writing. This you are using the skill to understand it. Okay? Aha, scanning, locate specific information. So you can scan for names, you can scan for telephone numbers, you can scan for a date of birth, right? Or a specific word, okay? Typography changes. Typography changes are if it's a bold, italic, small letter, big letter, okay? Uppercase, lowercase. You can kind of scan, look out for specific information, right? So here it tells you, you should develop the ability to locate information quickly without comprehending the passage. Again, you can't really do that. We don't have time to do that, okay? This is a speed reading method which helps you save time. If you quickly skim read and if you use skimming and scanning mixed techniques, you will be able to find the answer much faster than just reading it. Do not read word by word. I will read the passage and then answer the questions. Never going to happen under the sun. You can't do it. That's how they have made the paper, right? Then find the key information or word in the question to help locate your answer in the passage. So you just send your eyes and you scan for the word. Don't try to understand the complete passage, right? You can't do that. I've never done it. I don't think I'll ever do it in the future, right? So what I do is, I try to understand my keywords and what the question is, and I match my answer. If you don't know a word, the meaning, we call it deduce the meaning. Deduce means you guess. So if there's a difficult word and you don't know the meaning, probably read the sentence above that, the sentence below that, and think, oh, it might be this, You've understood the context, you've understood a bit about it, this word might be meaning this. So you guess the meaning by the context. Deduce, we call that, deduce the meaning, right? So your task is to locate the answers, and it's not for you to understand everything. This only requires you to comprehend the sentence or sentences which contain a specific part of your keywords. More detailed understanding is only required for matching headings or choosing a title. Then you would read a sentence right on top, a sentence in the middle, sentence in the end to understand what this passage is about. Develop vocabulary. Now this is important. I've been harping and harping about it when it was the beginner and the intermediate level, right? Man කිව්වා පොත් කියවන්න කිව්වා, newspapers කියවන්න කිව්වා, news බලන්න කිව්වා, right? කතන්දර පොත් කියවන්න කිව්වා. So I've done my part by telling you, and hopefully you've done it, right? If you have come step by step, then good, you've probably done it. If you haven't done it and you don't have good language skills, this is going to be a bit difficult for you. It's going to be challenging, okay? Learning vocabulary includes learning the meaning of the word and when you can use it, right? So that's why I said, if you have very weak language skills, you can't develop it overnight, okay? It's impossible to develop something over 1 month. Now, some people say, Miss Mata mukut Ingrisi bæ rabana මාසෙ විභාගෙ තියෙනවා. This is not instant noodles, okay? It is a learning process. It takes time to learn language. And sitting and trying to learn everything from a tutor or teacher isn't going to help you, right? So that's why I was keeping on harping, practice on your own, practice on your own. These are the strategies. This is what you should be doing. I did a lot in those levels. So if you follow through with me, now is the time to use it, okay? So if you are to learn vocabulary, make sure you learn the meaning, which part of speech it is, and where you can use it. Remember, in the Cambridge Dictionary, word is there, pronoun is there, part of speech is there, use is also there, how they've used it in sentences. Okay, so if you've used it like a Bible, okay, you would be benefiting by now. You need to learn collocations, words that go together, right? We've done that before. While reading passages, you could write word lists that include common paraphrases, right? So you should be able to understand. Now, if you're practicing, maybe in the first few, 2 or 3 Cambridge practice books, you could, write down collocations, commonly paraphrased words, right? So that you pick up on certain patterns. Develop grammar. Remember, if your answer is grammatically incorrect, the answer is wrong again, okay? So, example, you should be writing bottles, right? This is the right answer, but you write bottle. You miss ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා S එක විතරයිනේ නැත්තේ? No. If the answer grammatically, what word fits in is bottles, then it would be bottles, okay? So, summary completion, sentence completion, those kind of ones require you to have the proper grammar, okay? Because for true, false not given, grammar is not very important, right? When you're writing something, these are the 2 question types. Practice particular question types and get used to difficult passages, yes. Okay, you should. There's so much of practice resources, you've got the Collins series, you've got the Cambridge, you've got so many other series going on, right? Books outside, the official guide, the Cambridge official guide. So I've told you, you could use these specific resources, okay? So you have to make sure you're familiar with the different types of questions. You know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and do a lot of difficult ones, right? So do difficult ones at the start, reading passages, so that, once you do it little by little, it becomes easier for you. But practice is the key to success, okay? Identify your weaknesses. I just told you this. Check, okay, I'm not good at this. Why am I not good at it? How can I improve it? Over and over, reflect, go back, do it. Check the answers. Why is my one wrong? Why is this correct? Critically evaluate it, not just go, okay, right, wrong. I have only 30. No. Why are the other 10 wrong? Where did I make a mistake? Is true, false not given difficult? Is matching headings difficult? You have to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. Okay? Right, so I think with that we have come to the end of the lesson, right, where I just wanted to give you a heads up as to what this reading is all about. So you know we have 40 questions, we have 1 hour, we have 3 sections, and we have different types of questions in each part. So if you're doing GT, General IELTS, you need a bit higher of a score than the academic students, because academic is a bit more difficult, okay? So with that, we have come to the end of the lesson, which was an introduction to the reading paper of the IELTS exam.